Here's what happened. Over the last decade since starting my first business, I've had wins in business, I've had wins in other areas of my life. But before having made burnout extinct for myself, a lot of times after these wins, I'd be really confused because I would feel at moments more stressed out, more overwhelmed, more anxious. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Like, it didn't make sense for me of what was going on with my body because of the amount of fucking hard work I put in to get that win. And I'm thinking, if that's going to be what's going to happen for the win, well, then is it even worth it? That can come up for you as you're building your business with a win recently where you've either it's felt off for you, or you've been confused by why this win happened, like why you're feeling this overwhelm or stress or anxiety with this win. And then the question can come up for you of like, well, is this fucking worth it for me to keep moving forward? The other thought that can come up is thinking, why can I not be more excited or feel more incredible or more amazing after this win? Why isn't that happening for me? Why do I go back straight to the stress, the overwhelm, the anxiety? Or the other one is like, why does it only last a few seconds for feeling excited? You're not alone in having those experiences if that's been coming up for you recently with a win where it has felt off. With this, I go back to everything happens for a reason. And that includes these signals that your body's trying to send your way and communicate with you. And you can think about these feelings that you experience as signals from the body. And it can be weird if you haven't heard it before to realize that there is a message in the signal that's being communicated to you. So it's our job to first listen to the body and understand those signals, or listen to the body to notice the signals. And then from there, understanding and interpreting those signals. And from there, being able to make the adjustments. If that's the adjustments on a habit level in your day, to even deeper than that on a belief system level of the beliefs that are running the show for your life. Because if you think back to that recent win that you've had where you've felt off or it's been confusing why you're feeling overwhelmed or stressed out, you could ask yourself that question of what is the belief that's right now, or that was in the driver's seat, that's causing me to have this experience? Because these beliefs can also cause us to hold ourselves back and to make us feel stuck and not able to move forward towards what it is that we want to create for the vision in the business, to our quality of life that we want to create. And I go back to the business is one part of your life, but it's also there to support your quality of life. And when you can understand more about what you want for the feelings in if it's in the building the business or in your quality of life, as well as the experiences that you want to have, then it can become easier for clarity to align the wins to make sure you're moving in the right direction for yourself. This is going to be the space for you to understand what's coming up if you're having this question that comes up of, is it supposed to feel like this after a win? I want to break that down for specifically what the feelings could feel like for you, and then help show you how you can and explain to you how you can save the time and save the energy to move faster towards what it is you actually want. This is Make Burnout Extinct. I'm Rob David Weeks. Welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. If you haven't done it yet, you can subscribe and follow the show for the latest episodes. I'm really excited to continue to grow this show and get this out to more entrepreneurs like you for this mission of Make Burnout Extinct. And my commitment to you is to be honest with you for setting the expectations of what it really takes to make burnout extinct, and to remind you it absolutely is possible for you to make burnout extinct. Last time I hit my burnout was after the social media conference I founded in 2018. And how I define burnout, it's a major life transition that is forced on you by your body. And how you can think about that in the business setting is that you have to close down the business because you either cannot handle the growth that's happening in the business and it's feeling like you don't have the capacity to hold it for your body, or it's you can't handle the challenges that you're dealing with in the business and hold that energy for the challenges to be able to then move through those challenges. And so what happens is you get forced out of the game. And that I don't want for you. I want you to be able to decide when you get out of the game, or choose to stay in the game. And for me, it's now been coming up on 10 years, and I'm really grateful that I've navigated the ups and downs, but it does take hard work and effort to make that happen for yourself. But the more you understand, less fear grows. And when there's less fear there, that's where you can then save a lot of energy, a lot of time, a lot of unnecessary suffering, and be able to move faster towards what it is you want for the business that you're building. And then from there, what the business is supporting for your quality of life. So let's dive in. This question of, is it supposed to feel like this after a win? I want to break down a scenario that could come up for you with the win. I'll use an example of having someone that you really wanted to work with for a client, and they're coming on board, and provide a simple example, but then really break it down for what's going on with the nervous system for your body, because your nervous system is there to help keep you safe. And so understanding that pattern that could be happening for you, and some questions to reflect on through that process, because once you understand it, going back to the more you understand, less fear grows, and notice the patterns, you can then prepare for those experiences, and they don't become so overwhelming or cause you to go down what I call these tornado thoughts that can keep you stuck for a longer period of time. You then don't get off track for so long. You can get back on track and continue to move forward. So the example I want to get into for a win could be that person you've been really wanting to work with, they're now coming on board as a client. That you can imagine you've put in a lot of hard work to make that happen. The marketing side of it, the conversations required, sending over the information that's needed, and now they've agreed to join and be a client. So that should seem like an epic fucking win. And you may even have for a few seconds there that excitement of like, fuck yeah, I did it. This happened. So awesome. Moment to celebrate. Maybe you're able to celebrate with your life partner, friends, and you're just like, fuck yeah, this is it. Then what can happen is you do like, it feels like a whiplash. Like you go into then feeling really stressed out and anxious and overwhelmed. They're like, oh shit, how do I now make sure that they have a great experience? Make sure that they, that this is something that they really are gonna want to stick with, and that they're gonna get immense value from this. You can go down all those different tornado thoughts that happen. So can you relate? Like that would be the first thing. Maybe you relate from a past one or something that recently happened for you. So there is a signal that's coming through from the body, and that is in those feelings that you can experience of feeling more stressed. And I have said it before, it's earlier on, it's our job to listen to the body, recognize what the signal is trying to communicate to us for the message, and then making sure we're adjusting to the habits, or if it's on a deeper level, the beliefs, to get the beliefs out of the driver's seat. And so I want to come at it from two angles that you can tackle this. One is on the habit level with this example. And then I'll get into the belief level if you got to dive deeper into the beliefs. So, and even before that, let me define a win, okay, to help you out. How I define a win is something that I want to have happen happens. And I got two examples for you. Simplest one, I'm here in Santa Barbara, and I want to go to the beach. So I went to the beach today. That for me felt like a win because I had made the commitment, or I'd said I want to go do this. I did it. You can think about that as honoring your commitments. Like that's a win for me. I'm like, fuck yeah, that happened. Another win that you could have is you want a certain revenue. You have a certain revenue goal for the month. You hit the revenue goal. That's then another win. And you're like, fuck yeah, all that hard work put into it, I hit it for that goal. Now bringing it into this client, the win is you've really wanted to work with this person for a client. They've come on board. That's a win. But then you feel stressed out. Now it's, well, why is that stress there that's coming up? And let me go at it from a habit level for you to help you out. So you're feeling stressed. Then you take a moment to understand, okay, if I'm feeling stressed with this client right now, what could this mean? Well, I'm noticing that I actually don't know what are going to be the next steps to support this client to make sure they have an awesome and incredible experience. That could be because you have a new service that you're providing, and that's a result of their coming on board as the first client with this new service. It could be because you actually have no systems in place for how to onboard the client, and it doesn't have to be complicated for that. It just has to be like you don't know the next steps. And so there's uncertainty there, and you're not prepared. And so now your body's trying to communicate to you, get fucking prepared. Like, take the time to figure out how you're going to move to the next step here to support this client so you can make sure that they're having an incredible experience and getting a lot of value out of this, because right now you're having the tornado thoughts of you don't know if they're going to have an incredible experience, an amazing experience. Now let me bring it into the lens of the nervous system here, of what is happening. For your nervous system, it wants to, keep you safe, protect you, is how you can think about it. And so with anything new that comes into awareness for you, based off of your belief system, you could take it as either a perceived threat or as not a perceived threat. I'm trying to think of the other example, like the other word for that. It's not coming to mind right now, but like you don't take it as a perceived threat. And so your body's either going to get into a stress response or it's not. And so that goes between the sympathetic nervous system, parasympathetic nervous system. Fancy way to think about it for sympathetic is that's the fight flight response. You can also think about it as you're freezing. The fawn can be another stress response. And then the parasympathetic is the rest digest, like the hanging out on the couch, chilling. Sympathetic, for example, is like you're tense. You're like, you got to do something, like something's got to happen here. It's that feeling of tense, feeling of pressure in the body. So that could be coming through, going back to the for the nervous system is, okay, you now have this client coming in, you have the new client. Now it's the perceived threat of you don't know what the next steps are. And so that is a new experience. And what that can do is create uncertainty for the body. And with uncertainty, that can then create the stress response. And that's where you can feel how you can imagine it for the body is this pressure balloon that fills up with stress in the body. And that pressure balloon could be based off of your old beliefs, or it could be based off of just you don't have certain things in place. And so for this example with the habits, it's because you don't know what the next action is. And so that pressure balloon, it literally can feel like pressure. You notice pressure, tension. And so then it's reflecting on, why is that there? Oh, it's because I don't know my next steps. What can then be the action for the habit that I can take in my day right now to help me to release and pop this pressure balloon and release that stress out? Well, it's preparing for the next steps. And then that you can literally feel from the body, this openness, expansiveness. I think about it for people are different in how you respond when it comes back to resting and relaxing. But like, you may notice your shoulders drop. You may notice that you're breathing more deeply when you now have your next action. So that's on the habit level. Does that make sense? You can let me know. You can either send me an email if that makes sense, or you can let me know down below in the comments. But from there, it's getting into, on the deeper level, the beliefs. Okay. So this is where the beliefs, you can think about it as a broken swing. You think about on the playground, you have this broken swing, and what can happen is, for the nervous system, it wants to bring you back into balance for how you're feeling. And so if you have an old belief where you have this belief that you're not good enough to be able to serve clients like this person, what will happen is you'll get that momentum with this win of like, oh yeah, I put in all that hard work and effort. This person I really want to work with has got on board. But now what happens is, like the pendulum, your nervous system is going to swing you back. And similar with the swing, you move backwards, and that's where you can feel then really stressed out, feel overwhelmed, anxious, and you're like, I don't know if I can do this. You start doubting yourself. You don't show up as you were showing up with confidence in what you were talking about. And then what can happen is that's where you can either stay stuck, you can sabotage yourself. That's where the client can then get a weird feeling of like, I don't think this is a great fit right now. You're showing up differently. And that is because you're swinging on a broken swing where it's chaotic. You're not feeling stable in that belief. And that is because it's a belief that's disempowering for you. And so that is where you can get the message of the stress, the feeling of stress, and then ask yourself, well, what now could be a new belief if I have now realized I have this belief of I'm not good enough to serve this client, and that's coming through, and that's like that has come through with this message I've gotten. What could be the new belief to help add in a new chain for this swing, and so I can feel stable in swinging forward with that momentum, and then reminding myself that naturally, because the nervous system wants to bring you back into balance, I'm naturally going to have these moments of swinging backwards where I'll have a moment of doubt or moment of overwhelm, moment of stress. And that's the reminder for you. These moments happen no matter at what level of growth that you're in for your own life. These moments can come up. It's just how long you stay stuck in those moments and how long those moments drag out for the doubt, for the feeling stressed and feeling anxious. So when you had that new belief, for this example, it could be, it is possible, right? As simple as that. A new belief of, it is possible for me to serve these clients or serve this type of client that I get so excited to be able to serve. Like, it's someone I really want to work with. I know I'm capable of being, or like, I know it's possible for me to be able to do this. That new belief, you then got to figure out what is the habits to reinforce that new belief that you could do in your day that helps to put the reps in and remind your nervous system that this is a habit that you can become familiar with. And then ultimately, what you become familiar with can feel safe for the body. And so that nervous system, so your nervous system, for this example, let's look at a habit like preparation. So you're going to take 10 minutes a day to prepare for the next conversation you're going to have with this client. That can be the habit that you put the reps in to continue to reinforce this new belief where you are able to continue to swing forward for momentum. And then naturally, you're going to prepare yourself when you swing back and you have those moments of doubt, but you understand what's going on with those patterns. And so then it becomes easier to get back on track and swing forward. So does that make sense? I know I'm telling you this. Doesn't make sense. But it's writing that down for yourself of which one. Is it the beliefs? Is it the habits that you could take some time to go and explore? And maybe it's a combination of the two. But with the beliefs, going back to this swing, you're swinging forward, you're swinging backwards. What I have noticed in conversations and noticed in my own life and through this work is that usually there's certain patterns that you can notice when you're feeling stressed. And from there, feeling that overwhelm, feeling anxious. There are certain things that you're doing for habits that are causing those feelings to come up for you. And that's where you can imagine the swing, you've swung backwards. When you can take the time to reflect on that and notice what are the tornado thoughts, maybe I tell myself, I am not good enough, or like, dude, there's no way you're going to be able to keep up with this. You're not going to be able to give them an amazing experience. Or you notice that your shoulders tense up, or that your stomach tightens and you have tension in your stomach. Those are patterns that you can start to recognize. And when you can start to recognize the patterns when you're swinging backwards, then they don't become so overwhelming and consuming in your life where you could stay stuck in them and feel really defeated. Because you're not then taking it personally as something that's wrong with you, but more you can recognize that this is how your body responds, for your nervous system responds as you're developing a new belief. And those two are really powerful in distinction for how much energy you can save for yourself and how much unnecessary stress you can avoid. When you realize, oh, this is just the pattern that happens as I'm building a new belief system, rather than taking it all personally as like something wrong with you. So I hope that makes sense. And then as you're continuing to put the reps in, that new belief becomes stronger and stronger, where the old belief will always be there, but it can get to the point where it then becomes like a memory of being not good enough to serve this client. And so what happens is then that big pressure balloon, you can imagine that in your body, and now you're able to pop it and release that stress out. And what will happen is before you pop that balloon, it's like fighting the boss at the end of the video game. Your body is gonna have an intense response before you are able to make that new belief, you can move that new belief into the driver's seat of your life. And that's where you get these sayings of like, it's darkest before the dawn. Like that, when you can feel the intensity, it doesn't mean it has to be a stop sign for you, but it actually can be a signpost that you're getting close to moving to the next level for the growth in your life. And this is where I break down for the habit formation process. There are three phases of the habit formation process that can be really helpful for you to remember to help you out. The first one is the awkward phase. And this is putting in those reps. It's going to be awkward at the beginning. You think about trying to figure out with your schedule of where you're going to put in the 5 to 10 minutes with preparing for this client conversation. Where can you put that in your day? But then you'll get to a point where you get into the angry phase. And this is where you could actually, this is where people can get off track with their habits. This is where you could feel really tired and get into sloth mode, or your mind pinballs, where you're trying to avoid actually putting a rep in for the habit. This is where you can get angry and be like, I don't want to fucking do this right now and prepare for this client, this client conversation coming up, even though it's what I want. And that is going back to the darkest before the dawn. It's darkest before the dawn. That is where the body is like, the nervous system is really wanting to make sure that this is something that you want for the new belief. But then the habit moves into the autopilot phase. And this is like a habit that you've been doing for a long time. I think of like brushing your teeth as one where just you're not having to put a lot of conscious energy towards showing up and putting the rep in. It just happens. And that's what's on the other side of that angry phase that can come up in the habit formation process. And what will happen with any new habit is you may have to go through this cycle a few times. It's different for every person, but that is there to help you for preparing for what to expect. Because if you don't understand what's going on, that's where fear can really grow. And then it can be really exhausting. And then you can get to the point where you're feeling really stressed out, and it can move into then chronic stress, which then for the body can lead into chronic inflammation. And then you're headed for a one-way ticket to hitting burnout, where you're starting to hit the first red flag of burnout, which is chronic exhaustion. That's like that first one for the generic red flags. So I really want to take the time and space for you to recognize that these changing of beliefs for what beliefs in the driver's seat isn't like walking on the beach during the sunset. It is like when the fucking hurricane has hit. It is an intense sensation, but if you continue to move forward and face it, you can move through it much faster. Otherwise, you can get stuck in it, and then eventually that can lead to the exhaustion, and then you're headed down that path of hitting burnout. And what I want to remind you with it is that these intense feelings that you can experience, they are temporary. It's reminding yourself that they are temporary as you're showing up and putting the reps in. But once you've like fought that boss for moving into the next level of growth, how you can imagine it for the swing of going forward and going backwards is then you can eventually jump off that swing. You've jumped off that swing because now the new belief is in the driver's seat. And then from there, you just move on to the next swing up ahead. And you can you can upgrade the belief again. If it's that specific belief, you could say, instead of saying it's possible, now you say that so let's say the belief is it's possible for me to serve a client the client that gets me really excited, and that is someone I really want to work with. It is possible for me to provide value for them. The next up level could be like, I know I can provide an experience that will be unforgettable for them. That's like the next upgrade belief that you can focus on for putting the reps in for a habit, and focusing on creating a new stable swing that you can start swinging forward on and backwards on. But again, the pendulum swing will always happen. From there, I want to get into understanding that this isn't an overnight process for changing the habits and changing the beliefs. It can come with a lot of pain along the way, and that happens. But the pain and that resistance, again, does not have to be a stop sign. But you can understand what's going on for the message in receiving that pain. And and those feelings that can come up from the body. And then making the adjustments, taking the time to rest when you feel you need to rest, and then getting back on track and continuing to move forward towards what it is that you're building for the business, and then what it is that you're building for your own quality of life. And so to recap it for you, what to remember is that whenever you feel off with a win, it's asking yourself, what is the message that's coming through for these feelings that I'm experiencing from the body? Reminding yourself that these nearly 40 trillion cells in the body are there to support you. From there, what is either the habit that I need to focus on to put the reps in to make sure that I'm able to pop that pressure balloon that I'm feeling right now and release that stress out? Or on a deeper level, what is the belief that's in the driver's seat right now that I got to change out with a new belief and upgrade it, and be able to focus on putting in the reps for a habit that helps to reinforce for my body this new belief and make it familiar for my nervous system, so that then I can feel safe in this new belief and then be able to move forward. And what I want to tell you is you absolutely have the capabilities to be able to listen to your body and make those adjustments and to understand what those signals are trying to communicate to you from your body. And it will take time. It's just like any habit. You have to go through those 3 phases of the awkward phase, the angry phase, and the autopilot phase. But it's remembering that it's temporary, and that where you start for those feelings isn't going to be where you end up as you continue to move forward and face it. And if you haven't heard it yet today, I believe in you. You have the ability to be able to make this happen for yourself, of making burnout extinct. And from there, to create these wins that are in alignment towards what it is that you actually want in building the business and for your quality of life. You got this.